muting. And intro.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Super Desperation Radio!
Hey everybody, welcome to Super Desperation Radio, your number one stop place for all things WWE related, FGC related, MLB related, NFL related, anime related, green screen related. We also
stop place? Your stop place. Stop place. What the hell is a stop place, Chris?
Did I say stop place?
You definitely did.
Damn it. I was in I was going so hard into it. I was just like,
I was in a weird place, guys. I was in a weird place.
I thought I had it, and my bad. Well, let's roll it back. Stock place? What the hell was I thinking? Anyway, welcome to the show. I don't have anything to drink right now.
You said NBA. You went to stock place. You thought John Stockton and how sick his plays were to Malone. It makes sense.
Damn,
stock
that's
place.
true. Stock place. Mm-hmm. Come get your stock plays here. We got plenty of them.
Okay.
Anyway, we're back for another Monday show. And where'd our guest go? I think he just disappeared. I was just about to introduce him.
He's just been.
Okay. Hey, there he is.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey.
Oh no, it's gonna be one of those shows.
Everyone say hi to Coogie.
Hi guys.
What's up, Paul?
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing?
Wait, whoa!
Not
Why'd
bad.
you just say what's up to yourself?
That's weird, isn't it? Sometimes you talk to yourself when you get older.
I do all the
Yeah,
time.
no,
Yeah,
it's true.
I get it.
Shit.
That's one of those things.
I totally get it. You know, it's not an old guy thing either. It's just like it's a mature guy thing. I'll put it that way.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, so as you can see, our special guest tonight is of Broken Tier fame, the originator, the innovator, Broken Tier Coogie. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm glad you could join us tonight. I haven't talked to you in a long ass time actually. Tonight's probably the first time in what I want to say 2 years that I've
Probably
even had a conversation.
It's been quite a while.
The last time I remember the two of you talking, Coogie was beating the shit out of you at SCR and a casual, first to 10 casual set.
All right, so
Here.
I think
I don't remember this.
I
happened?
remember it. I remember.
I must have been so free that I don't remember.
no.
I'm just messing with you. I remember it. I talked about it a moment ago.
Yeah, he just brought it up.
No, I didn't hear that part.
No. So like, it actually just came to me. There was another night after that we were in the same room, but we can't talk about it on the show.
Oh,
We were playing Mark of the Wolves. It was at CPT.
Okay. I remember this now.
I remember that.
That's as far as we're going about that.
That was quite a night.
That was a great night.
Because there was Mark of the Wolves involved. Jesus.
Right.
That was a great tournament in general, man. Like,
Sure.
I'm actually
Was that the one in Millbrae?
yeah, that was the one at the SFO Airport Hotel, the Marriott. That was like,
Oh man.
I had such a
remember
great
that.
time that night. I think we actually all had a really good time that night, even though it was like a one-day thing, and none of us even came there or gave a shit about Street Fighter 4 or anything like that. We were just there to like hang out and watch that dude lose money, the Nemo.
Oh yeah, that night. Yeah, I remember that night.
Whew. I just remember Nemo just like looking at him saying, "Oh, I'm so lucky." I'm like, "Shit." But yeah, that was the last time I talked to you. I think, like at length. So it's good to see you again.
I feel like I'm a different person now. So
I
this
want to
is
say
gonna
that's
be a
like
good
3 or
time.
4 years ago.
It was
Yeah.
a very long time ago.
Dude, that is quite a bit. Damn, am I really that old now? Shit.
Yeah,
It was 20. I remember it.
we all are.
It's true.
Dude, we gotta. What is it? We gotta make the most of the time we got left.
That's right.
Things are falling
And
off
that's
on
why
our
I'm
brother.
on the show.
There you
I'm
go.
on the show to maximize my time on this planet by talking to you wonderful people.
Well,
Fucked up.
that's perfect because I want to start out with like, what are you up to lately?
Well, I'm a streamer now, So this is kind of a 180 on my previous stance of not being on the internet and visible. And I decided in December that F that, I'm going to start streaming. And yeah, I started getting competitive in Guilty Gear again back in September.
Oh,
I decided that I was bored and I wanted to change a pace. And I was running my company and I was kind of in a bum spot with it where I wasn't really happy with how it was going. And I decided that I wanted to try something new. And I'd been teaching my girlfriend to play Guilty Gear for like 6-8 months at that time. And it was kind of like I had to relearn the game from scratch, essentially, because it was like I had to teach someone. And when you teach someone anything, you know, you find out that you don't actually know anything at all. And you're like, oh, wait, this moves +4. And then you look at the frame data, you're like, oh, wait, that's -18. How did I mess that up? And you start, like, you know, improving. And so I won a bunch of locals. I won a regional. I took the money I got from winning that event, which is like, I don't know, $300. And I bought a streaming computer and I started streaming every day. And, you know, it's just become a process of, like, finding something new to do, you know, learning a new skill and mastering it. Like I'd done with my previous thing with Broken Tier, where I was like a team manager and, you know, coordinating event sponsorship, team sponsorship, and like doing a bunch of crazy stuff with that. I just wanted to try something new. So that's in a nutshell what I've been doing recently. So,
well, that's awesome. I mean, I totally feel you on that whole like trying something new just to not necessarily learn it, but also just like, you know, to be more of a Swiss Army knife of things. Because I was kind of in your same position where like I didn't really want to stream that much. I had people that, you know, wanted me to stream, but I was just like, yeah, you know, like I'd rather focus on just like, you know, real life stuff and do new commentary every once in a while, you know, when I get paid. But I agree, like, you know, it's actually kind of cool to be able to run your own show and it kind of be successful, and you're just like, this is actually pretty fun, and I don't know why I put this off for so long.
Right, like immediately after I started streaming, like the first, I don't know, maybe the first 3 days, where I had the face cam on, and I was like, I got over being on stream instantly. And I was like, why didn't I do this earlier? Why did I spend 6 years hiding in the shadows when my team was so cool and I was so known and no one knew who I was and I didn't do any interviews and I was so like introverted about it and so scared of like being known for some reason. And yeah, I just decided to change it up and I feel like it way better overall about it. So it feels rejuvenating.
Awesome. I'm glad you're able to do that and feel good about it and stuff. So do you have any plans for streaming, like regular stuff? Like, you know, what kind of game, what kind of formats? Like, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, well, so I started back in December. So basically, every single week, I stream 4 days a week from Tuesday through Friday. And it started off being kind of like random games and some Guilty Gear. Like, it was me practicing. And then it just sort of evolved into teaching beginners. Like, I would, like, legitimately, like, if you asked me, like, what is Guilty Gear? I would answer your question for 5 minutes. You know, like, my goal was to get everyone into a very casual level of Guilty Gear because that game is really overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And it's like the kind of information that beginners get when they're looking up the game is like Lord Knight's stream, which is an amazing stream, but it's something that's catered more to the hardest, most hardcore people in the game. You know, people that go to tournaments and they understand the difference between Millia's Bad Moon option versus her overhead 6-kick option. And a lot of people right now have this feeling with like Street Fighter V. They're kind of like, they enjoy fighting games, but 5 isn't fulfilling them in the right way. And so I figured, you know, by teaching beginners, maybe if I can increase the pool of casuals that are in the Guilty Gear community that are interested, maybe it'll help the community out. And, you know, I think it's working. I think more people are interested in streaming. Top players realize there's a market for them to stream too. And, you know, me and James Chen especially have been like doing beginner lobbies and things like that because we're trying to encourage growth. And, you know, I think it's working. At least I'm happy with what's happening right now, at least.
Oh, cool, man. Like, it's really beneficial for everybody, not just people who want to play Guilty Gear, but perhaps, like, I would suggest anybody who wants to know how they can get more people into their game, maybe watch your stream and just say, hey, you know, like, he's very approachable about this. He's very comfortable with talking about the subject with people, you know, like, you might be able to not necessarily parlay this, but like people might be able to glean more information off of your show than just how to get into Guilty Gear.
And honestly, like, this is a little bit of a personal thing, but one of my goals is to showcase to people that want to be esports how to be esports. You know, like, there's much more that you can do than just being a player. There's a professionalism involved, you know, like having a regular schedule, pushing yourself with goals, being public about your goals, there's a lot of things I learned from running Broken Tier that I apply to my streaming, and it works. There's consistent growth. There's things that I test on the stream, and I'm applying it with A/B testing to see if like people notice it. And there's a lot that people don't do as sponsored players that I think that they could do, and it would make everything a lot better. And you know, like I don't know, I went from not ever commentating to doing a top 8 Anime Ascension, and me and Brett were basically doing it, and I felt really good to be able to like not get top 8, but still be involved and help the event be better. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like a lot of top players could do that, but they maybe don't understand the road to do that. So I'm kind of testing things out. I'm working on like some content that's basically targeted to top players to like make themselves more brandable, more approachable, to get a bigger following, things like that. But I'm still testing it out, so I haven't written any content about it, but it's kind of like a goal of mine, I guess.
So you're almost like maybe a PR coach, maybe?
I think it's just business. It's like business 101, how to apply what you're doing in a business mindset with growth as the goal, and something that is sustainable, not that something that you're going to burn out on in like 2 or 3 weeks of like pumping out tons of content, and then you're like, oh man, now I can't do it because I have to go back to work, you know, or oh, I'm in college and I don't have time to do this much stuff. But there's always things that you can be doing to growing your brand and reaching potential new sponsors and things like that, and keeping your current sponsors happy, because that's definitely a part of it right now. Whereas like, you know, you see sponsors dropping players and picking up the hot new thing. And those players could keep their livelihoods going with a little bit more maintenance work. So, as a former team manager and someone...
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Chris,
go
fix
ahead.
his Twitter handle.
What's up?
Fix his
the Twitter handle.
Oh, my bad.
I've been waiting. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, it's okay. And like, I guess that as a former team manager, like I still have a team, but basically I kind of agree. It's a name only thing. Like the song, I don't fly them to events. I don't fly work to events. We're all grown men. We have jobs. You know, it's more of like kind of like how Nerdjaw reps Team Spooky, kind of like that. And so basically, it's like I had team members, and I had some team members that were great, and some team members that were dookie. And it's like there was so much they could have done to improve it, but I wasn't able to explain to them what to do. So now it's a test on myself to see if my theories are actually, you know, it's kind of like that. I had a lot of time to think about how I would formulate my strategy of like becoming more involved with social media and how I would approach new people and things like that. So it's kind of a weird topic because it's not really about games. It's more about business for me. But I still love doing Guilty Gear and going to tournaments and things like that. But it's not, the main goal is not to be the best player. The main goal is to become extremely marketable and to use that marketability to increase the reach of the Guilty Gear community and the fighting game community as a whole. So it seems a bit broad, but actually that's my goal.
Here's a question for you. Since you brought up how there's obviously a standard that you have for players that you'd want to keep on regardless of their performance, right? Just because of their presence and their professionalism. Right. Is there anything that you would think is just an immediate, no, just fucking cut this guy in terms of, you know, their interactions on social media or otherwise?
So there's like business, right? And then there is like personal feelings.
Well,
so if I'm being a personal guy like before, where I'm very like involved with the players on a personal level, then I'm not gonna like people that are doing like blatantly like sexist or racist kind of comments on social media. Like that's obviously a no-go. If you think about it from that perspective, anything that you get fired for at a normal job or like a lax job, not acceptable behavior.
Okay.
So
that's pretty fair. I mean, I know for us that kind of sounds like, you know, day one stuff, but like, yeah, you kind of see that happen every day with like, you know, people just kind of getting caught quote unquote unaware of what they can and can't say on Twitter, you know? So.
Well, it's kind of hard sometimes, I think, separating like a business persona and your personal persona, especially on the internet. You know, in the fighting game scene, it's like you have people that might not be ready to handle the responsibility of being in front of 20, 30,000 people that suddenly know their name. Imagine if you were a nobody and you went to your first tournament and you got first place and you just won outright, but you're a total scumbag on the internet, right? Like you don't know any better. You know, and like there's no school for how to become like a professional esports athlete. I mean, they're beginning that, but a lot of it is just kind of trial and error and common sense. And a lot of people don't have common sense that they're good at video games. Unfortunately, it doesn't really correlate, you know.
No, I hear you.
Well, and even so, if you look outside of video games to other social media and public relations mishaps, there's a lot of people who are well older than us who are still getting fired left and right for saying things on Twitter that you would think would be obvious you can't publicly say. So I think that the idea of public relations is still adapting to Twitter, and some people are just not getting it in general.
Right. I mean, it's a lot of it isn't written down. Like I said, like I'm testing a lot of theories out, but it's like if you look it up right now, how to be a top player, how to be a professional player, there's a lot of articles about streaming, there's a lot of articles about like basic PR, but there's nothing like there's no guidebook for it. It's kind of like your personal opinion, because a lot of people kind of are like, well, if this is my Twitter, I have ownership of it. I don't care what people say. If they don't like it, don't look. It's kind of like one of the problems with the anime community, where if we were going to reach out for sponsorship and then you're retweeting like pics that you find on Damburu, and you find like big titty women like all over your timeline, that's kind of a PR problem because you're not marketable. People are going to look at that, like normies are going to look at that and be like, oh my God, he's looking at like naked pictures of Bulma. I can't tell my children this.
Of course it's Bulma.
Chris is right here. Like,
I don't know. Did you like Bulma? That's fine. I mean, hey, whatever. Like you're into what you're into, right? But
yeah.
The difference is I'm not
for it.
The difference is I'm not going for like a sponsorship. Like I'm already got my spot. So like it's a different situation for me. But
right, but if you were trying to reach out to Red Bull,
if I'm trying to reach out for Red Bull,
trying to like get to the next level where it's like you want to get a company involved and the company is going to give you their name in front of your name and you have to represent them in a public capacity. That's hard to do sometimes. People get heated. I used to get heated with me and Chris G would just talk shit to each other on Twitter all day, and I had the Broken Tier account only. And like I think at one point I tweeted at him. I deleted the tweet, but I was like, I can't wait to see you serving me at McDonald's later in the future. And I realized I was like, I'm out of control. Like I'm supposed to be a professional, and I'm taking like petty personal insults for no reason. And so around that time, I made my own personal Twitter account, and like I separated it. And that was one of the first lessons I had. And you guys probably think of me as a pretty good business guy, right? Like you probably think I'm pretty professional for the most part. But like that was a big mishap that I had, and that was just one time, and I caught it. I was smart enough to delete it, but like that's happened before. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Humans are dumb, emotional creatures. So,
I mean, yeah. Do you think like the hardest thing that a player in that situation that perhaps hasn't gotten the opportunity to ever be up on the main stage and suddenly gets that spotlight on them, do you think like the hardest thing for them is possibly that they just don't know how to shift that gear? Like they're thinking like, how do I stay exciting enough to be on stage or for people to want me on stage, but also not offend the sponsors, because that's definitely something I struggled with for a long time,
Yeah.
Like how do I stay Hell Pockets without dropping the F-bomb at Evo again,
And that's a big problem. It's about you basically, when you become a professional and you start getting paid money, you have to really look at yourself. And I had my own problem with this because I'm an artist and I can't produce like the kind of art that I would want to produce normally if I'm a well-known person, because it might be considered too risque or whatever. But you have to be able to step back and evaluate your goals and realize long-term it's more beneficial to put some things on the back burner or to develop a separate persona to take care of that. And I think that it's just a matter of people, like right now, especially, people are becoming more conscientious about the things that are required of a top player. We now know that if you don't eat food at all the finals day of a tournament, you're probably going to lose because you need food and energy. It's not like a wives' tale of like, if I don't eat, I'll be okay because I went to a local and I didn't eat and I felt better. We now understand that there's like sports medicine and like you have to do wrist stretches and like we're treating it more professionally, and this is just part of that. There's a lot of basketball players that are wild and crazy, and then when they get in the leagues, they have to curb back that behavior because every time they mess around, they get fined $50,000 or something. We don't have fines. We don't have any negative reinforcement where we can be like, hey, you messed up. You caused damage. The only thing that we have for that currently is that the worst thing that can happen is that you get sponsored by YouPorn and they don't show your advertiser. I mean, that's really it, right? You have people.
You do have Capcom, because Capcom recently did something about it where they were just like, the whole Noel Brown incident where they just basically banned him for a year, which was like a humongous blow for people who, figuratively and literally play grab ass at the fucking tournaments and get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that was a great move by them to show that, hey, we're not just going to let this continue to be a community fueled thing where we're going to let this kind of bad behavior get swept under the rug. We're going to, eyes are watching.
Yeah.
Sponsors are watching. Money can come into our scene and grow us, but we need to start acting more mature. So.
Hey, man, I wish you luck with that, dude, honestly, because I think a lot of young brothers could benefit from that right now, honestly. Like, I think there's a way that people can be themselves and be hype and be exciting and compelling, but they don't have to be, like, dumb about it,
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Well, I think the thing, you're talking about, Chris, not dropping fuck and shit like that, but really, there's a certain level of acceptance of that level of vulgarity in the scene, like that people are going to use 4-letter words, except unless it's on, a national or international stage like EVO. The rest of the time, it's not like anyone's going to look at you weird for saying fuck on Twitter. There are other things, however, that maybe you shouldn't do, and I think it's just about being yourself, but also knowing how to not get in trouble. Which a lot of people would know if they interacted with other people all the time, but as was said earlier, fighting gamers nowadays we kind of came from a culture where everybody was a little bit awkward, and the way you got experience with that was at the arcades, and that doesn't really exist anymore, so now it's a little bit dicier.
Kids getting raised on the internet.
Yes.
Basically. I mean, my generation, I think, was one of the first. I'm 33. I grew up on the internet. I was really young when I was on it. And, it's definitely a culture shock when you go from the internet to go into an arcade, because that's exactly what happened to me. Like, you have to act a certain way. You have to be polite. You're going to get your ass beat. People are not going to put up with your lip if you start popping off after, one lucky combo or something. And that kind of behavior, you don't see it as much anymore. I think nowadays the scene is pretty good at... Most people that are good players, they're on the level for the most part. They have some questionable issues on social media, but in person they're well behaved for the most part, thankfully. Back in the day, there were some sketchy individuals.
You're looking at two of them, baby. No,
yeah. All of you people are very questionable.
Freaking Raider fans, man.
So it's okay.
But no, that's really cool, though. I don't want to take up too much more time with just discussing that topic, because I want you to have plenty left over for your show. This sounds like a pretty nice preview of it. So
I actually don't talk about any of this stuff at all.
Are you kidding me? This is great.
No, this is only for you. I normally just talk about Guilty Gear. I explain the basics. Like, Hell Pockets, you should totally come by my stream sometime, and I can teach you how to be a beginner Guilty Gear player. Whatever character you want, I'll help you out.
Next question.
So actually, kind of let's go roll this back to sort of a beginning point, which is I met you at NCR 2010, and you had pretty much just started Broken Tier up, and I'd say the last year before that?
8 months.
Okay.
It was 8 months
and
before that.
At that point, you really weren't playing competitively anymore. So what was it that took you... We kind of talked about it a little bit on the pre-show, but what was it that took you out of wanting to play competitively? And then with Revelator now, what has sort of brought you back into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually moved across the country. So after Evolution 2006, so I had won the side tournament for Guilty Gear at EVO West 2006. That was down at San Diego Comic-Con. I think we were kind of sharing a venue in that area. And I beat Combo Fiend. He was undefeated at that point. And I was that was the peak, right? I have gotten to the point where I was the happiest I'd ever been with the game. I did really good at Evolution that year. And I was just kind of I'm just kind of reached the point where I'm done with games for now. I wanted to move. I moved back home after that. I met my girlfriend, and the Accent Core just came out. And I was I'm kind of just wanting to focus on having a relationship and not playing games as much anymore. It's not fun. My local scene had died out pretty much 100%. All the people that I grew up playing games with had moved on, and unfortunately it's just kind of internet didn't really exist back then for online gaming. You know, there was no online version except for Reload Online. And with Accent Core coming out, I was like, why do I want to play this new version? So I stopped doing it, right? And I ran my business for a while, a few years after that. And I was like, I'd go to tournaments and I'd play people that were new Guilty Gear players and I'd beat them. And I'd be like, man, I can still beat people occasionally. Like, that's pretty cool. And as Xrd, like, continued to grow and I didn't continue playing it, people got better and would beat me. So I started going to my tournaments I'd sponsor, and I'd be like, man, now I'm losing to, like, everybody. This sucks. And at the same time, like I said, I tried to teach my girlfriend how to play Guilty Gear. Her friend bought the game for her, and she was like, I want to play Bedman. And I was like, this is a terrible idea. Don't play Bedman. Like, I don't even know how to play Bedman, right? And so I had to relearn. I had to learn communication, for one, how to teach a beginner. And my communication skills were pretty whack at that. Everything was internalized. You know, like, I understand hitboxes and frame datas and all this other stuff. But I didn't know how to explain that to a beginner, and so I spent all this time like working it out. And as I started doing that, Raven came out, Revelator dropped, and Heihun came out, and Raven came out, and I was showcasing the characters to her, and I was like, yeah, you know, this Heihun guy is weird. But then I looked at Raven, and I was like, man, I want to listen to like Korn, I want to listen to like Limp Bizkit. Like, this character's so like edgy, you know, he's like early 2000s edgelord, and I started playing him, and I was like, And I did like one of his specials. I was like, you know, like that feeling when you find a character that clicks really good, and you're like, ooh, oh, okay. And it kind of brought me back a bit because I was like, I'd spent all this time learning the game again, and so I just started practicing like maybe 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week. I started playing games when I wasn't working and I needed a break to relax. I'd practice, and then I started playing online a little bit. And I became an online warrior for a while, and just like, no one knew what Broken Tier was because, you know, I'm just a clothing company guy. I'm not a Guilty Gear player. And I just kept playing online. I went to Evolution, and I stayed with Mr. Biscuits. And I was talking to him because I entered the Guilty Gear side tournament with Raven, and I almost beat, like, a pretty good East Coast player. And I was like, man, kids these days suck. Like, I want to get in there and scrap with people. Like, I miss this. I went to Evolution for the first time in 5 years. I didn't sponsor it. I was just a player. You know, when you go to an event, you spend like the entire day, like Thursday at Evolution, setting up. Wednesday you get in. You know, you're working the entire weekend. You might see you guys, like I see like Paul at an event for like 5 minutes, and in the middle of it I'm slinging shirts and working the whole time. Yeah. And it's like going to Evolution and not working was like weird. It was so weird. I know that sounds crazy to all you people at home, but like I went to all these fighting game tournaments for the last 5 or 6 years, working every single one of them that I went to. I wasn't in it for the scene, so I started playing games again, and I realized I really loved it. So I'm sorry, that was a really long, drawn-out answer, but
no, actually,
that's kind of like how I got back into it. Is I started going to tournaments and not working. I started playing, and then I realized that that's what I was missing. So,
kind of dovetailing with that, you were talking about how when you weren't playing as much, you would play and you'd still beat certain people.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the sort of feeling when you're sort of half-hearted into it and you get some wins, but then it's like you're not playing enough, so that's sort of like the self-defeating where you come up against people and you're just sort of like, well, I could win if I played more, but I have to understand that I'm not.
It's rough mentally because I had an ego. I mean, like, the last time that I took the game seriously, I was basically like top 5 in the US. You know, I was known for my character. Like, everyone looked up to me as playing a Slayer player. And I would lose to people, and my ego would kick in. And I'd be like, man, F that. You know, I just don't know the mechanic. That's why I lost. And I was straight up made scrub excuses for a really long time. And I didn't even realize that I was making scrub excuses because I was so in the mind space of, like, I was a top player. That shit's cemented. That's like a fucking medal that I can wear on my chest. Like, oh, I'm an OG, you know? Like, you can't fuck with me. But it was actually just holding me back because I would not take losses in the appropriate way. I wouldn't learn from it. I would just basically be like, well, I'm expecting to win, and if I lose, there's a reason why I lost, and it's not my fault. And it was kind of a poisonous mentality. So losing the ego and stepping back into the ring and being like, I don't know anything. I need to relearn everything from scratch, and if someone beats me, it's probably legit. You know, I just need to hold that. So
it's a healthy outlook.
Actually, there's a question that kind of like dovetails off of that. What did you do to kind of get rid of the ego?
Well, I think that I had to, first of all, it was a personal problem at all levels of my ego. Was here I am, a business guy. Everyone knows me as a business guy now. I make money off the scene when other people don't. So that's cool. But now I want to be a top player, but I'm losing. And I can't lose because I'm winning at everything else. And I was like, every time I made art for commercial use, it was like I had to fight myself to release it because I had such an ego that I was like, if this isn't the best piece I've ever made, I can't release it. Right? So there was an inherent egotistical issue that I had to really step back and be like, this doesn't matter at all. Like, I just do what I do, and I will improve if I keep working at it, and I need to, like, relax and not take things so seriously is really what it came down to. And once I started doing that, it was great. Just not taking things as seriously. Like, it's kind of like if you play a game, like any game, like at least for me, I play like music games, like I have a big-ass music controller, and I got really good at that, right? And then I'll play a new music game, and I'll be like, oh, this game sucks because I'm not good at it immediately. It's kind of like that. I had to get rid of that mentality where it was instead of the joy of learning, it was the joy of being good at something, but that is something that you earn over time. So, yeah. Sorry, I just
no, that's
go off on tangents a little bit.
No,
My answers are long.
No,
And we appreciate it.
I was honestly just reflecting on what you said, and it's really resonated with me. So
Yeah, a lot of what you said is stuff that I've been talking to about people with myself. I don't really care for playing anymore for some of the same reasons. And you can ask everyone that went to NCR with me last year. That was the first event in almost 10 years that I didn't work. And I had no idea what to do. I was just there.
Drink all my beer.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, Gibby got fucked up.
But yeah, it was the weirdest experience for me. I had no idea what to do. I was walking around. Everyone that I wanted to talk to was busy working.
Right.
So I was like, shit, what am I going to do? I didn't want to play anything. I didn't want to do anything. So I just walked up to someone like, hey, you need help with it? Like I walked up to your booth, and I'm like, oh, he looks lonely. Let's talk to him too. Let's go together. And then Clockwork came by. I'm like, oh man, he's talking to Clockwork. Now I gotta go.
You know, the ego thing's actually really fascinating to me because there's a ton of people that I talk to at the times that I do go to Wednesday night fights. And I'll talk to them when they play Street Fighter V. Like, I don't play the game myself, but I'll talk to them, and these are players that I've known before that did well in Street Fighter 4. Like, maybe that was the game that they started with, and they were doing well there. And when I talk to them, they feel really frustrated because the field is so much bigger, and I don't even want to say that it's better or worse than it was in Street Fighter 4, but it's so much bigger that they feel that they're constantly getting, in their words, random out at the event. And honestly, every time they say that, it's one of those things where I kind of just want to grab them by the collar and be like, that's your ego talking. Maybe look at why you're losing to, like, you know, fucking Johnny Donuts and, you know, Big Butt 69.
Like, okay, you know, a very personal experience that happened to me just last week is Sanchez, you actually eliminated me from the tournament. You know,
I'm
like,
a top 8 Evo champion.
No. I mean, like,
I know, I'm just fucking with it, yeah.
So I was talking just a moment ago about the ego, right? And I thought that I had actually absolved this completely from my issues. Like, I thought that I was past it. I thought that I could take a loss like a champ and be okay. And I had a lot of momentum going in to Anime Ascension. I had gotten third at every event that I've been going to, or first. And basically, I lost Sanchez, right? And in my mind, as long as I've known Sanchez, I've been able to beat him at Guilty Gear most of the time. I mean, I would say that, like, probably, like, you beat me a lot, but I beat you more, right? And so I felt like no issue whatsoever going into the match. I lost. And I actually, for about 5 hours, had to just be alone. And I was, like, literally in my own head, and I was like, you know what? I lost to Sanchez. Fuck that shit. I should not have lost to Sanchez. But then I thought about it more, and I was like, you know what? Why? Why am I so upset about losing to someone at a tournament? I mean, I'm at a tournament. If I'm not winning it, I'm losing it, right? So, like, who does it matter who I lost to? If I lost to someone that was, like, mashing buttons, that's on me. And so I had to think about it, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's okay to lose. I just think that losing to Sanchez is a little bit harder because, like, I know him, and he's such a shit talker. I know that I'm not going to live it down. So I think that definitely was more of it, but that's something that I think a lot of people have to overcome, and I especially didn't. But I haven't felt that pain in a long time. Like, losing when you put so much into it, and you're, like, practicing, like, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, and you're, like, burned out on the game, but you're, like, you want to go to this last tournament and see how you do. For me, it was like, damn, like, I still have room to grow. And my old personality would have been like, man, fuck that. I could have won. I could have got top 8 if I beat Sanchez. Like, this is his fault for my downfall when it's not at all. But your mind plays tricks on you like that. You know, at least mine does, where it's like that with everything. It's all on you. You have to do everything you can to be the best. And like, you can't blame external issues for it. You can't externalize your problems. So that's something that I kind of had to deal with recently that made me a stronger person, but it kind of hurt at the same time. And like, yeah, I don't know. This is my thoughts on that.
It's an interesting sort of set of circumstances because Alex and I have always had this sort of back and forth when we play each other, even in casuals or tournaments, where the way we play grates on each other. So if one of us starts to win a lot against the other, even if it's just like a small streak and then it gets broken up, we start just sort of saying shit like, God, you're so bad. God, you're a scrub.
Right.
And it's just because, well, like you said, one, we know each other so well, and two, it's because we both approach the game with different philosophies. So for me, it's really hard to take myself out of that in terms of casuals. In terms of tournaments, I rarely get mad about losing in tournaments anymore. I used to when I first started, but tournaments don't bother me. It's actually casuals now that do more than anything, which is weird.
A little bit, yeah.
And the kind of to go on that point about the, you know, coming at a game from like different points of views is one of the things that kind of helped dissolve personally, like my ego, was changing the way I asked the question. And this is a fucking common question that I'm sure you've asked a million times when you fight somebody that you feel is a jackass, is why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
That question's come up a billion times, right? That exact same question with a completely different connotation, like a completely different delivery, is an incredibly healthy and helpful question. Like, let's say I'm losing to Tony and he's just learning third strike, right? And he just does fucking walk up sweep 40 times in a row, and I'm top player fucking Yomi level 69. This should never, it should never work on me.
Right.
And I just ask him, why did you do that? If I ask it aggressively, it's like I'm just being a dick and I get nothing from the situation.
Right.
If I ask it in earnest and he tells me, oh, I've watched you play enough that I know you're trying to parry high every time, I'm just going to do a slow low because that beats the high option every time. And it's like, you know what? You pointed out a flaw in my game that I can then fix. That's helpful.
Right.
Like, instead of me thinking that I'm some genius that is, infallible in my knowledge, anytime that I lose, I actually just start asking people questions. It's like, okay, I'll think of a key point where I feel like I threw away control of the match, and it'll be like, why did you DP there? Like, what was your rationale? Or why did you think that, some backdash YRC garbage was going to work when it did? I want to know why, because you obviously know something that I don't.
Right.
And just asking that question differently has made it so I don't get as frustrated. Like, I actually feel that my point of view now is at the best it's ever been. Like, it's minimal ego.
Right.
If I lose, it's, hey, whatever, it's another chance to get better.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, I think, in general, is you have to realize that losing is actually one of the most beneficial things for you in general, because you just get stronger. And, if you burn your hand on a pot, you know not to touch a hot pot. It's the same thing. It's just that it's a very micro level of, don't do this move versus this attack at this range times 1,000. 1,000 tiny decisions affect the match. So, yeah.
I need to start asking myself those questions sometimes. I just fucking go in blinders on, baby.
You're just gonna start asking yourself, why did I do that?
Why did I do that? No. If I ask myself, I'm just get depressed and be like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, as much as I always tell myself I'd like to learn games like Gear or get better at King of Fighters, I usually feel like I don't apply myself enough. But yet, I still find myself every now and again sitting down with breakers and really just grinding out what my options are to punish certain things and not get breakers in between. So I'm like, why do I find these weird games? I don't know. For some reason, that's what I wanted.
Well, I think that's important. Why do I play Guilty Gear? So I had to think about it. Do I play Guilty Gear to win because I'm good at it, or do I play Guilty Gear because I actually genuinely love playing the game? And it's because of the love. And if you play a game that doesn't have a scene, that's totally fine. You should try to build it up. That's why in SoCal, they have such a great ST community now and Vampire Savior community. And it's these games have no prize money whatsoever. It's just whatever people show up with.
Mm-hmm.
but their community is so focused on growing by teaching beginners. They're so helpful. They're super nice. They do not want to. They want to like welcome you with open arms. And I think that like for you playing the game that you like if you like playing Breakers, like you should play Breakers all the time. And find people that like playing it with you and just have fun, because that's the most important part. Like it's okay to take games competitively and seriously, but like I think people kind of lose that whole point of playing games is that it's fun, you know? Like there's a lot of other ways to make money than playing video games, I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, we've talked about this a little bit on the show, but part of the reason some of us ended up playing the games we play now is because we had a friend who brought us into it. And there's a huge social aspect to fighting games that, for me, is actually the reason I still do it now. Because I honestly, on a certain level, am never going to put that amount of work in to be at this top player making money. That's just not going to happen for me, pretty much, because that's not the person I am, and that's not the way I really want to apply myself to video games, because they are still fun to me, and I feel like then it becomes a job. But what I stay for is the fact that I have all these people who I've met over the years, and I get to be around them. And then we have this thing that we all share, and that's awesome.
Right, like I would have never met you if we had never met at a fighting game tournament.
Yeah.
You know, that's our connecting bond is fighting games, but beyond the game, it's still like now we have camaraderie and we're friends, you know, and we travel the globe and we meet up with each other. Like I just met up with you last week.
Yep.
You know, and you moved away from SoCal for like 6 months, you know, and I haven't seen you in a while, and it was great to just like, you know, play some games and talk shit, you know, like just like what we usually do when we hang out. So I think that's like the most important thing for me as I get older. I'm not in it to like win tournaments. I'm in it for fun. But if I win a tournament, though, that's like icing on the cake, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Bonus.
So speaking of tournaments, do you have anything like a schedule planned for the year, or anything you're planning on hitting up that you need to hit up, or?
Right now my focus is mostly on working, and because I work with Tenno, so I cover events. You know, I help do the Twitch stuff, so I can't go to a lot of events. I can't go to the biggest events because I'm going to be working. But the events that I'm not working, I'm going to see about trying to go to them, but it's kind of like, you know how it is, like funds and things like that. Because I'm not sponsoring the tournaments anymore, and I don't have like, I'm not there to make money. It's an expense that's beyond business, and I just don't want to spend it. Because I'm not going to win the tournament, you know, like that's not really the goal. So if I break it down to a purely like business viewpoint like that, there's more beneficial things for me to do with my time. But I want to hang out with my friends, so of course I'm going to try to make Evolution. I'm going to try to do, if there's some other tournaments that I can drive to, I'm totally down to do that on a weekend. But if I have to work, I'm going to focus on work.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like I would never expect someone to push aside important work for, you know, coming to NCR or anything like that, you know?
Well, like, I mean, for me, for the long time, for like the last 6 years, it has been the case. It's okay to go to an event because I'm going to generate income from it. You know, it's just, and I can network. There's a lot of businessy things that I can do at the event, but now it's not so much, you know? So it's like changing my perspective. Streaming is a lot more important now to my business model. You know, working on new designs is more important. Building the Guilty Gear community is more important. So, and there's things I can do from home that are more beneficial than even attending an event and seeing my friends that I've seen for the last 10, 15 years. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now with it. I want to see if I can go to more events, but maybe in the future. Maybe if I become like Maximilian level, esports famous, super celebrity, like you'll see me everywhere. But
where you're just balling so hard?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go super esports. I'm gonna get sunglasses on all the time. You know, $1 million a check from YouTube. I'm in there.
Gonna wear the Colombian Coke dealer suit to Evo?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna reenact Scarface. Like the minute I can, I'm in there.
White on white, got the red rose. Just
I'm gonna bust out the TE2. Like say hello to my little friend. Like just all over the place.
Oh my god, he's doing 100%.
See, this is what I was telling you about Thea. How she has opinions. She doesn't like the Scarface outfit. She's not
Sorry, Taya.
I wanted to ask you. So you said you're scaling it back with sponsorship and all that stuff, and recently you transitioned Broken Tier from a typical online like storefront to Teespring.
Right.
What was that all about exactly? Like, what was your decision making?
Yeah, so the first thing is that running a professional e-commerce store is expensive. You know, there's maintenance fees, there's programs that I have to use to ship products out, and it costs a lot. And to add to that is the marketing expense. So for me, in order for my shirts to be exposed to eyeballs, the fastest way is to sponsor streams, cover events, things like that. And basically in like 2000, we're going to have a little line graph here. This is the bottom and this is the top. And then above that is esports. So at the bottom is the fighting game scene in 2010 when I started, right? And the cost of sponsorship was very low. And then 2011 happened, it got a little bit higher. And then 2012 happened, and then 13, and then 14, and then 15. So basically the cost of sponsoring a tournament now is in the 4 to 5 digit range. And I mean, that's not even like really, it gets higher than that pretty quickly. So there's no room for a low level sponsor anymore. And it started to show when Street Fighter V dropped. And I would hit up old TOs that I would hit up, especially in like the South region. And I'd be like, hey, you know, I'd love to show up to your event. I've supported it every year. You know, I've bought like 30 consoles for you in the last like 3 years alone and helped you run events. And, you know, I'm just looking to keep it in like the reasonable price range. And they jack the price up 5 times the rate. And they're like, sorry, we're esports now, basically. The phrase that I get. And I'm like, well, okay, that's fine, but that's not worth it, period. And then the next year, they have no sponsors. You know, if you notice, a lot of tournaments have no more sponsors. And there's a reason. It's because they're not aiming for people like me who want to sponsor the event at a reasonable rate. They want sponsors that will pay them $25,000, $35,000, $50,000
to run the same exact event.
Well, yeah, basically, because they're not business people; they're tournament organizers. They're not building up their brand in the same way that other events are, and that's why a lot of other events have improved so much. So, you know, a big example of this for me, especially, was when Capcom Fighters came around. Because when Capcom Fighters came around, it separated the grand finals of a tournament. You had Marvel, and then you have Street Fighter 4. And then Capcom Fighters came out, and they're like, okay, Street Fighter 4 is now on our channel. You have to sponsor our stream to get that coverage. And that's, you know, a third or half the eyeballs. So unfortunately, that's not realistic. You know, it became a situation where it was double sponsorship. So I had to drop that. Players started asking for more. You know, we're in the esports era. If you're sponsored, you probably want to get more than just flight, hotel, and food. You want to get a fee for every time you go to an event. And that's not realistic for selling t-shirts. So, basically, I decided that that's not really something that's sustainable. That's an old business model. You have to reevaluate it. So Teespring is actually way more economically feasible, and I can focus on less being a businessman and more of an artist. And I am at a stage now where I can promote myself. You know, I mean, the fact that I can go to tournaments and do well and I can teach people Guilty Gear, they now know my artwork because they know me as a person. There's a stronger connection than before where I was a guy at the booth and you just thought I was some random like worker that's slaying the t-shirt to you for $20. I didn't know that I actually know how to play fighting games. I'm not just some random schmuck that, you know, walked in off the street, thought I could make a quick buck. You know, I've been in it for a long time. So actually, you know, I thought it was going to be an awful shit-filled mess of like, oh, I'm losing control of my product's quality. You know, I'm not able to make the products that I want. And I realize that it's actually a really good move in general because Teespring is behind me 100% of the way. You know, we've talked to them numerous times. They've worked with me on their pricing. They've worked with me on the quality of their products. So I'm able to provide a product at a reasonable price, actually the same price as before. And it's a better experience for everyone involved. So I had to kill my ego for that one too. Trust me, I did not want to go Teespring because like Teespring came in 2012 and sponsored CEO, and I got pissed off at them, and I was like, "F these guys! They're trying to run me out of business." You know, like any Joe Schmo can show up and make a stupid picture of Jabali's face and make $100. Like, you know, basically, I had to like reevaluate it and approach it as a business person, not as an egotistical artist, I guess. So. Yeah, I don't know. That's really long. I'm sorry. Again, I'm all.
Stop apologizing.
No, man, it's
Okay,
like
fine.
great
I'm not going to
story.
apologize. Just shut up, Sanchez. Don't talk to me like that.
Look. Next time you have a tournament win over me, you can tell me not to talk to you like that.
Oh my god.
So, well, honestly, though, the thing about it is that these kind of explanations, although, you know, you might think that you're talking a lot, I think that's what a lot of people want to hear, is that they want to hear the long explanation, because
Okay.
to be completely honest, there's a real lack of transparency across the fighting game community with what happens behind
Right.
the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think giving people that little glimpse behind why, like behind what you do as to the why you do it, kind of makes people understand a little bit more, and not think so much that everybody's out to get them and trying to fleece the community. I'll be honest.
Right, of course, because that's a big thing. Like we're like the skateboard community back in the day. You know, we're very insulated. We kind of figure out solutions to our own problems. We buy from our own suppliers. You know, like Arcade Shock is a great example of that, and Team Spooky, and the fact that we make our own streams is a great example, because no big broadcast company is going to show up and cover a fighting game tournament. I mean, what the one company, Tech TV, did, they made fun of us the whole time, right? And that's what we didn't want to deal with. We wanted to be able to showcase our events live, and so we became business people, essentially, like Team Spooky and this stream and all the other ones around. It's like we're filling our own niche. You know, it's kind of like a cool clubhouse that everyone's involved with. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of people in the past thought it was like super sketchy, and there's all this like R Kappa filled nonsense. And I think people now realize that it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. It's improved a lot. People are becoming more professional. We're understanding the role that we're in, because like I didn't expect any of this to get as big as it is now. I don't think anyone did. I don't think Mr. Wizard expected to get a heated pool because of Evolution. You know, like I don't think anyone expected this. I didn't expect to get my car paid for from t-shirt sales, or have a nice house, or have a fish tank with my cool fish Pepito in it. You know, I didn't expect any of that. So, you know, it's like a learning lesson. And so I obviously keep the real grimy shit hidden. I don't talk about that because I don't think it needs to be talked about. But like, you know, business stuff, I'm happy to talk about whatever. If you guys have weird questions you want and I'm comfortable answering it, I'll tell you. So be sure you send your questions in at SDRcast on Twitter, and I'll answer them. Is that right? Is that what the Twitter is?
We actually got quite a few.
See, I was going to segue into it, but you did it for me.
I got segues, bro. I'm a businessman. I've watched wrestling. Paul showed me some wrestling matches. I know. I know it all.
All right, so you automatically are better than our last guest last week.
Oh shit! Actually, I was going to bring that up.
He knew nothing of wrestling other than Kurt Angle. What's up?
I was going to say he needs to talk to Reynolds about everything.
Yes.
Like
no, Cookie and I have had discussions on Reynolds in the past. Yeah.
Oh man, let me at him. Let me give
please.
me. Did you guys see what I did to James Chen?
I know, right? What the hell?
Like that was some straight up like exhibit pimp my ride shit.
You are like
I walked in there and I bashed him up. I took a hammer to him for 6 hours, and now look at him go. He can do a combos. He can do some stuff.
You're the gear whisperer.
Oh yeah, that's definitely me.
All right,
I can whisper more than gear.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'll teach GC Yoshi how to cook. Shit, get me on a cooking show with GC Yoshi. Shit,
No.
I think you need to teach him how to pump his own stomach at this point.
Can I start the questions off?
Yes.
All right, Coogie. Bigfoot or Gravedigger?
Wait. What was that?
Bigfoot or Gravedigger?
Gravedigger.
Okay. All right, he breaks the tie. Gravedigger is the superior one.
Damn it!
It's been
Wait, hold on. Did you count Son of Bigfoot towards Bigfoot, or as its own entity?
No. He doesn't count.
Oh well, hold up. The truck is called Gravedigger. Done. End of discussion. Bigfoot? Okay, I don't care about Bigfoot. Like some dude getting shot in the woods. Gravedigger? He's digging your grave. It's a big ass truck.
I
was
agree.
a kid and I used to see Gravedigger coming to San Diego. This is like, whoa, Gravedigger! So sick.
Yeah,
Bigfoot.
okay.
Who gives a shit about Bigfoot?
See,
Like,
Bigfoot is the
boring.
face. He's the fan favorite. Gravedigger clearly the heel, not going over.
No, you gotta do it the right way.
Hold on.
Okay, go.
I was never into monster trucks, right?
I wasn't
There was
either,
faces
actually.
and heels of monster trucks.
I think.
There was.
Yeah, definitely.
Check it
I
out.
had no idea that there was like
Check it out.
drama involved. I straight up thought that these fucking trucks were showing up to just like
No.
crush other trucks. Like I thought that was it.
These trucks had personalities, and like
They had
this is how
personalities?
you know.
What?
Bigfoot
Oh,
was the Hulk
shit.
Hogan of Monster
Yeah.
Trucks. You know how you know this? He was on It was on Captain N.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I had no
This is
idea.
some real shit.
Yep.
I had no idea. Oh man.
All
I made a
So
mistake.
we
All right.
we have a decent chunk of questions for almost all of these are for Kugi.
Yep.
Which is good.
Expected.
If you have more questions, if you have any questions you want to ask Kugi, tweet us at SDRcast, and we'll read them in the order they were received. All right. So first question from a friend of the show, Reiki. He asks, from a business perspective, what are the best practices for venues, local or regional, gaining support from businesses? If you can, please break that process down for me. Support meaning showcasing equipment, having a stall, monetary, etc. Stall. Oh, booth. I think he means booth.
One, the first issue is that your goal should not be to get sponsors. Your goal should be to get to the point where sponsors can't ignore you. A good example would be what Team Spooky built, what I Play Winter built, and what any like Level Up, right? They just streamed their locals, and they built their streamed followers, and they built a brand around that, right? It's like my local in Phoenix, they get like 23 viewers for their local, right? And they're fighting for viewership because they're trying to figure out who's going to stream it. The streamer doesn't know what he's doing. It's never going to get any traction, right? Because they don't understand brand building. They don't understand how to get their local scene to promote their stuff so that more people see it. That's the first goal. It's not to get a sponsorship. It's to build up your local community so that you get 100, 200, 300, 400 viewers every week. Being consistent enough with the entertainment with your local community to build them up into commentators. You get a stream guy that's dedicated. You keep it entertaining. And all those things are not conductive most of the time to a local community, because a local community is like, you guys are just getting together to hang out and have fun. But if you really want to get sponsors, you have to put on a show. You have to entertain people. You have to make it more than just your local. So that would be my piece of advice, is to basically, if your goal is to get sponsors, is you have to increase the production quality of your event to the point where a sponsor would be interested in it. In some cases, the sponsorship might just be like one of those star-aligned moments where, like, Red Bull wants to get into your region, and so they're going to put a Red Bull cooler behind your monitor. And then the only thing you're going to get from Red Bull is going to be the energy drinks. Like, you get like 5 cases of energy drink, and you got to promote that shit for 6 months. And that might be step one of like many steps you need to take just to get a legit promotional sponsorship. But most of the time, sponsors are not interested in locals because locals are not consistent enough content to make anything worthwhile. And if your local is too small, then they can't sell those products to everyone that's attending the event. If you have a 150-man local, then of course they're going to send you headphones, because 150 people might get divided down to 15 people buying a headset in that region. And their regional manager might be like, hey, I'll send 5 headsets. I don't care. That's nothing to me. So,
like as prizes and stuff, or?
Yeah, well, like they just might be like, I have an allotment of goods that I can send out to my region for different promotional reasons. So this event looks like it has enough people that maybe these guys are hardcore enough to tell their friends about it, and we can build community goodwill. But most of the time, that's not going to happen unless you have a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel or something like that. So,
do you think maybe at that level that it would be possible and even more beneficial to possibly work with a local business like a ice cream shop or some shit like that?
I think that it's mostly things in the community that would be beneficial. So, like if you have a T-shirt company like mine, right? If the T-shirt owner can throw you $50 and you put that into the prize pot, then everyone wins, right? They get some advertisement, people get goodwill towards the sponsor, everything is good. If it's like a local business, then that really only affects the local people that are watching the stream, which probably is a very low number to begin with.
Right.
It's mostly going to be on-site activations versus online. And an activation just means like, this brand exists. I'm going to do this thing that the brand wants me to do. Maybe it's clicking a website link. Maybe it's buying a product. You're looking at on-site versus online activations, and they're completely different audiences. So it's actually very complicated. But basically, go for local sponsors if you can. But your goal should not be to get sponsors, I think. It should be to build equipment for your local scene so you can be more professional, so that a year or two down the line, after you've worked every weekend and you've built content and you built a brand, then you can start approaching sponsors with an actual, like, a package and being like, hey, we'll give you this many views guaranteed per month. This is how many promos. This is an example of our promo that we do. This is our commentator team that will promote your brand properly according to your brand specifications. There's so much to it. Do you really want to go down that route, local host? No, you don't. Don't even bother. Next question.
All right, next question. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Now we're not. We don't have to ask. Do we have to ask that?
We're not doing this. Benny, we're skipping your question.
Yeah,
I'm
that's not
sorry.
really a question.
Well, what's the question? What's the question?
It's not even a-
okay, fine.
I mean, he asked
Alright,
a
there's a
question, right? Like, you guys
Yeah.
are trying to field these questions.
All right, so check it out. Coogie, if you're watching Love Live
No.
or Love Live
Next question.
All right. All right.
No.
Hold on, can I field that one?
Actually, it's no. We'll do.
No.
We'll do that on another show.
No. So, what's the next question here?
I
Chris,
believe.
what's the next question?
I believe it is from one EX Wild Wolf.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah. Okay. So, you got it. Okay.
You got it. Another friend of the show, EX Wild Wolf, asked, "Who is your favorite GG character? Who is your least favorite Guilty Gear character?"
Let's see. I guess, like, because we don't know the specifics of the question, my favorite GG character, like, in canon.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll answer 3 ways. So in canon, my favorite character is Bridget. My favorite competitive character is probably going to be Venom. I think Venom is the coolest character of all time. In any fighting game, period, he's just way too much stuff. How do they even program it, right? And currently, my favorite character is Raven. So in terms of game plan and like how I'm playing him, I like him the most.
Okay.
So next question.
What was your least favorite
Okay.
Guilty Gear character?
Oh, my least
Yeah,
favorite
please.
character? Probably Robokai. I really don't like Robokai. He's just a stupid character.
Unpopular opinions. Next question.
Missiles in his knees.
Yeah, he has this. Nobody wants that. All right?
Yo,
Nobody
hold
wants.
on. You need
Nobody
to speak for
wants your hand
yourself.
to just turn into a big oven mitt and go blah at 4 frames. Nobody wants that.
I mean, I kind of do.
I do.
You know, you say no one wants that, but people are fine with a goddamn frying pan in Marvel 2.
Oh, and someone actually asked why Raven. So, why do I like Raven? Is because Raven is a Vortex character, and he's very simple. He has good buttons in every situation. He can punish most situations like a burst blocked. You know, most characters get a very minimal punish off that. Raven can get a hard knockdown combo and set up his Oki again after a burst, and it does good damage. So I really like the fact that Raven rewards a strong basic game plan, and there's a lot of room to grow with the character. And also his Vortex is sick. Like, his more advanced movement options are very hard to control properly. And so I feel like I can kind of flex my creativity with him while also focusing on basics more than like some characters like Milia, for example. Like, you spend so much time forcing mix-ups over and over again. With Raven, it's like you rely back on this really strong full-screen neutral game that harasses the opponent. It's fun.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say something because you like Vampire Savior 2 and you just don't get to play Jedi against anybody.
That's kind of true, too. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's good.
I thought you were just going to say because, he got me back into Corn Limp Biscuit.
I'll
I
be
was
honest with you. I've been trying to work on a Raven guide for a while. In the mood to write about this, I will go ahead and I'll listen to what is that song? The Limp Bizkit song, like I tried so hard. I'll listen to that on loop, and I'll write the guide, and I get into
my
this
God.
like teenager emo phase. And
Oh, you're talking about in the end by like
in the end, yeah, no, like that.
Okay.
all
I just
that
like how he
old-
was going into like some kind of like lounge swing version of it. Like tried
Yeah,
so
well,
hard,
I didn't wanna,
it got
like-
so
I don't
far.
got- yeah, don't give me shit, Hell Pockets. I'm not saying I'm a Guilty Gear coach and a life coach.
It's going to be the Richard Cheese version.
Oh man.
God.
Okay,
Stop.
actually, just one quick question to interrupt. So let's say you do make this guide, and it's like if it happens to be video format, like would you use Blind or Freak on a Leash as the background music for your Raven guy?
Freak on a leash. Freak on a leash.
Yeah, Freak on a Leash, I think.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It was the obvious choice.
Next question from the man who made the intro to our show, Clawmaster. He says, question for Coogie. How do you like Skullgirl so far? Which character do you like the most, and why?
Oh man, so Skullgirls is super sick. Basically, like I've been really busy with prepping for tournaments and streaming so much lately, so I haven't been playing it as much. But like I have a legit team now. I play Parasol, Eliza, and Double.
Wow.
I'm super duper into it. I legit like when I have time and I load it up, I just go crazy in training mode and find all sorts of crazy like fun combos, and it's like there's so much to the game, it's ridiculous. The only thing though is that at like on a casual level where I'm at right now, where I'm just enjoying the game, I can see where this game is going, and I don't know if I'm going to like it at high level. So for the first time in my life, I kind of am approaching it from a casual only standpoint. Whereas I just kind of like playing with my roommate and just kind of fucking around and trying random characters and like, picking Dio colored Eliza and like go Mudano whenever I hit them with the combo. I just have fun with that. I don't try to like look up the best combos. I just play the game to have fun. And so it's actually really, really good.
Wow.
It's a weird feeling, I'll be honest with you. When I'm not trying to be super competitive in a game and I'm just playing it for fun, it's like a weird foreign concept to me.
Shades of AKA. Got it.
Shades of AKA. Oh, man. I don't know what that means, but
Because he's always Dio. He's always trying to be Dio, right?
oh yeah, okay, I understand that now. Yeah. Well, that color is so sick looking. It's just so perfect.
Okay. Next question comes from Drew Redmage. Oh, okay, this is good. He says, "Give us your best story about beating someone at the Broken Tier booth that had no idea you were a top player."
I vaguely remember playing Marvel 3 at Evolution 2012. I released a Skullgirls tee, and there was a line for people to play all my team in Marvel, right?
Mm.
And I don't remember who it was. Okay, I just remember someone was popping off in the crowd. They're just being silly. They're having fun. And they wanted Jay, and Jay was busy doing something. He was like writing, and he was like, "No, I want to play Jay." And I was like, "Man, you get to play me." Right? And I was like, if you beat me, you can play Jay. And he's like, who are you? You don't even know me. And I was just like, I'll show you who I am. And I played Nemesis, Virgil, Taskmaster. And I scrapped him. It was bad. Like we were recording all the sets, right? And we recorded that match. And Jay's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I better get Kugi. You're still what? The guy left?" And I was like, "Yeah, I beat him." And he's like, "Wait, what?" It was just this crazy moment where I whooped this guy so bad. He's just like, "Damn, good games." And he stood up and just disappeared into the crowd. Like I imagine it's just like his life was over after that moment because he didn't get to play Jay. He had to play the owner of the team. The guy doesn't play Marvel.
The last boss.
And he beat him with noodles. He beat him with just all day.
Damn.
So,
Good
the
shit.
old Incredible Hulk song played as that man walked away.
yeah, do. No, but so like in Guilty Gear, I beat some people in Guilty Gear, but it was never like, I mean, people when they play me at Guilty Gear, they're kind of aware that I existed before, so it's not like a huge ass whooping. And honestly, I did it so much I didn't pay attention to any particular one moment. It was usually just like, "Oh man, Kugi, you're still good games," like that. But that Marvel moment, that was pretty good because like Marvel people don't know who Kugi is. Only Guilty Gear players do.
I respect it. I know who he is. I just didn't care.
Oh, next question comes from Benny, the man who asked that.
Yes, it's a real question this time.
Question, yeah. So he says, "As for a serious question for Kugi, which Arc System Works game that needs more love besides Gear and Blaze?"
That's not serious. That's a typo.
What? They make other games?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Did you not hear that they bought Technos?
Oh, that's right. So they actually have a direct stake in me and Tony's beloved franchise.
The answer is actually Hokuto no Ken.
So, like, I'll say this. Like, I don't think there's any relevant game that they've made right now. I think they made Battle Fantasia. Who cares? They had Hokuto no Ken.
Whoa.
You triggered.
Hey, you tripped
the alarm, man.
Look,
this is in the courtroom. This isn't where you get to voice your opinion. This is a question.
Look, if I get to correct you on your stream where you're telling people Dragon Install lasts 20 seconds, I get to correct you here.
Hold on. Are you listening? Are you listening?
Have you seen me play? Of course I don't listen.
Yeah, I know. All right, so here's the thing. I don't know about Arc Sys. I think in general, I wish Unial had more of a scene.
Oh, yeah.
That game is amazing, and I legit love watching it. I just wish it got more support.
I honestly feel you're overlooking one of your own favorites.
What?
Like HNK. That's an art game.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a game. That's like a rhythm game more than an actual fighting game. It's not really at high level. That game is just a combo.
Yeah.
Man. So.
You see Kugi full perfect that guy with his token?
Yeah, it's a really HNK is a really cool game, but I would never suggest anyone play it. That's a weird thing to say, but it's true.
Yeah, it's not a game I would recommend. I mean, sure, I grew up with it. It was entertaining. It's very entertaining to watch, but I never want to play that game, and I don't really want to promote it. You know what I mean?
Because you can't really be like, go play HNK. It's a good game. 'Cause that's
No,
just not.
it's definitely not.
It's a fun game.
It's Garbo. A lot of old games are Garbo, and that game is definitely one of the most Garbo games ever. So
It's a good basketball game.
There you
it's
go.
a great music game. I'm just telling you. Like, it has great music, has great sound effects, and if you're really good at playing 2DX or music games in general, that game is for you because you can definitely get those basketball combos. That's a rhythm section right there. You're waiting for the opponent to fall to a certain spot, and you're pressing a button over and over and over again. That's it.
Oh man.
It's pretty insane.
Okay,
Next question comes from all the way from Australia, Spider Carnage.
Whoa!
If Kugi could sponsor anyone today, who would it be? Whom?
Anyone?
Anyone.
Like, outside of fighting games or only in fighting games?
I think probably only in fighting games.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he means just in fighting games.
Yeah.
But I mean, but let's just keep it to fighting games because we don't need you going out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
so
watch no Overwatch shit, so I'll be saying like
business
Seagull.
cookie. The business cookie says Sonic Fox, absolute undisputed #1 most marketable player in our scene currently. If it was a Guilty Gear player, it'd probably be FAB. I would definitely sponsor FAB. Just because FAB brings the hype. It's ultimate underdog player who has the best execution, in my opinion. Some of the best execution. Maybe not the best. But, one of my personal favorites to watch in general.
For sure.
Oh, man.
So there you go. That's my answer to your question from Australia. Thank you very much for that question.
That was a good question.
If only they had Slash back in Xrd, right?
The next question is a general question for all of us. I'll skip that one for now.
Oh, you want to skip that? Okay.
Yeah, the one from Time Rift.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it, but we'll skip it for now.
Okay.
What's this one?
And the next one is we kind of already answered that.
Yeah, you already kind of answered this. Marvin Smith is asking, what's the best way to get a local scene active and mobilized? You kind of
Well, the question was more. The previous question was more of how to get sponsorship, and to get your local scene mobilized to increase it is a completely different question, I think, or a different answer at least. So if you want, you can ask me that question. I'll give a quick response to it.
I just did kind of.
Okay, so basically, to get your local scene involved is one, you have to coordinate with all the local people and get them into a chat of some kind so that you can coordinate events, right? And then it's a matter of promoting your event through a larger scale. So I live in the Phoenix area, right? And Phoenix is a bunch of smaller areas around it, just like every other major city. And one of what we have is we have a gigantic general fighting game Facebook group, and then we have an anime Facebook group. And so we will post in the anime most of the time. We have a line chat that we're in, and that's really not a good way to promote the scene because the line chat, first of all, no one uses Line for real. I don't know anyone that actually has this app other than anime players. And most people use Discord, right?
Yep.
So having a Discord for your local scene is a big way to improve it because then you can coordinate with players, you can meet up, whatnot. 2, having consistent sessions, either it being a house that you go to or a local business that you support, like a game shop that has it, or if you're blessed to have esports arena type venue or a LAN center that will host you, hosting it there and promoting it there. Because your goal is to find people that are into competitive gaming or into fighting games or into that kind of genre of game and to introduce them to the scene and build them up that way. And really that comes down to a marketing problem. You have to market your scene, and your goal should not be to get the best players. It should be get all players interested. So there's a lot of, if you start thinking down that path, you'll find a lot of interesting issues. You'll find putting up flyers at card shops or, going to a gamer bar and putting on the fighting game channel, during an Evolution or something like that. And you'll see a lot of people really interested in it, but they had no idea that there was a community for it. And it's about finding new avenues to broadcast your local scene and being consistent with it. I guarantee consistency is the #1 most important thing. If you don't have a consistent venue, if you don't have a public venue, those are going to hurt your chances of growing larger. The more closed off you have to be because you, say it's your personal house and you can't have strangers coming in, that's going to be harder to grow a community than if you have a local arcade spot or a barcade or someplace that's public that the occasional weirdo can walk in, but 5 or 10 good people will walk in also. So that's what my personal opinion is there.
Kind of backing up that, since my house basically was the only venue for SoCal Guilty Gear for a number of years. What's really important is when you're starting out to not only make people feel welcome, but also do it on a pace that you're happy with. Which is, for me, when we started having people at my place, what we did was if you want to bring somebody who I don't know, that's okay, but you have to vouch for them. And then they have to come introduce themselves to Monique and myself so that we know that once you make a personal connection with people, I think it's a lot easier to really get people to keep coming back, because once somebody feels like you've invested something in them, then they're like, wow, this person cares that I'm going to get better. They don't just consider me a body. I think that really changes things for people and makes them feel like, wow, I do want to learn this because I actually like being around these people who give a shit. So I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, next question.
Next question. Next question comes from a friend of the show.
Oh, from Cap Cops.
Yeah, Cap Cop Damon over here.
I'm out of here.
No, he asked a question that I like. I really like hearing people's thoughts on this. He says, what are the 3 best fighting games that aren't well known?
That aren't well known.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Unial's one of them, for sure. I think Melty Blood has a notoriety to it, but isn't well known to most casual people. I think is one of the best fighting games ever made. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighter.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that game is super legit.
I'm like, they agree. She's like, yeah, Turtle Power.
Yeah. I mean, that game is kind of funny, but it's legit. It's legit fun. Me and Rennick, we play it all the time now. It's just like a goofy game, but it's like a fighting game. If you get past all the bullshit in the scene of this game's competitive and there's tier lists. If you just play fighting games to play fighting games, it's fun. That's the most important thing for me, at least.
Moonbuster.
You mentioned Melty Blood. I'm talking to Nocturnal in the chat right now about he used to hold Guilty Gear gatherings at his place a long time ago, and that's how I got into Melty Blood. He got me into both Gear and Melty Blood. Back, I think it was when Melty Blood first came out. Forgot, it was a PC game and Chaos was broken as shit. Jump C, something like that.
Oh yeah, the full screen.
Yeah, and you could just keep juggling, and he had unblockables with the deer.
A female nice. Deer.
That's a doe.
Ah, yes.
All right. Oh crap! This is a crazy name right here. I'm just gonna go with Lionheart16. He says, "What is your advice to people who take losses harder than others? Those who still lose despite doing the homework."
You have to evaluate why you're losing, one, and you have to be extremely analytical and real about a loss as to what's causing it. If you say you're doing the homework, what does that mean? To give you a point of reference, I put in probably about 18 hours a week currently into Guilty Gear, and that is just training people and going over basics with them. When I was preparing for my tournaments, I would practice 6 hours a day, so about 30 hours a week total, and that was enough to win a regional for Guilty Gear at least, right? And that was going over matchups that I had played before and learning counters and specific things, and there's so much minutia to it. But that took a long time to get to the point where I could only spend 30 hours a week. And I'm an OG. I mean, I know a lot of stuff about the game already, right? So if you're losing a lot and you play Guilty Gear, one, come to my stream. Let me help you out so I can help figure out what your problem is. Two, you have to overcome the ego. If you're losing, why do you let a loss affect you? Are you personalizing it? Are you saying that I'm a failure because I lost? Are you saying I have a personal goal? You have to evaluate why you play games. And if your goal is to win, you have to do more things that make you win. If you can't win with your favorite low tier character and you're not playing a top tier, play a top tier. If you're not training enough, you need to watch top players and evaluate why they're playing approach it from a different mentality. This is such a broad question. There's so many ways it could go. It could be a personal mental issue. It could be execution problems. It could be your mentality's flawed. I could get Gordon Ramsay on this shit all day and like really break it down for you. But until you send me a match video, I can't give you help. So send me a match video, Lionheart, at me at Kooky Please on Twitter, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know what's going on, buddy. I'll help you out.
I have a quick question for you. Can you block Grand Viper on reaction?
Depends on the range.
Okay.
Like because I generally just block low against Soul anyway, so I never have to really like stand up. But if he's real close to me, yeah, it would hit me with that occasionally, for sure.
All right. That's some anti-Kooky tech right there. Close range Grand Viper.
Damn it! You scoping me out on the show?
Just trying to submarine this man.
We got his ass, Tony.
As someone who's trying to learn Soul with little to no background in Guilty,
God damn it.
I gotta figure out one way I might be able to sneak out one round.
Oh, just trying to scum him out. That's rough.
So,
Man, I can't believe this show.
You gotta keep,
Next question's another anime question.
oh Jesus!
I don't think we're gonna. Monique, we're not doing this.
I don't even know what's it.
Hey man, I'll try it. I'm not into most anime.
Okay,
So if I don't know, like I'm just gonna say no. I don't know.
Okay, she has top 3 Monster Girls or Ship Girls.
Oh, I think I know what this is about.
Of
Of course I would.
Like hold on, is like Monster Girl like a show or in general?
Monster
Yeah,
Missouri.
it's a show.
So it's a show, but let's not be fucking myopic here. It can also encompass monster girls in general. So like, oh, here's a dragon lady from any kind of media. So.
Okay, so dragon ladies, lamias or nagas are pretty cool,
Okay.
and I think blob chicks are pretty cool too. Like that's kind of interesting. And what was the second part of that question, or was that the only question?
It was monster girls or ship.
Ship girls. I think that there's like I see a character sometimes that has like an eye patch and she's a ship or something. I don't know what the fuck
Tenryu
doing anymore.
It's Tenryu.
Ship girls. Like
Look.
what is happening with the internet?
Paul, you know what? Just stay ignorant, man. Like, as somebody who had to be dragged through all this shit, kicking and screaming, just, you know what? It's better if you don't
Because
know.
people
Like,
want to have sex with boats now, man. It's all right.
You know what? Hold on. There's a ship girl I think named Iowa, right?
That is
Yes.
Yeah, Iowa's all right. I like Iowa, and then there's a girl with an eye patch.
That's Tenryu.
I like Tenryu then.
Here,
Those
let's
are my
just
ship
confirm. I don't
girls.
want to fucking put
So I gotta
words in
say-
your mouth.
Yeah, okay. Let me look at the
I
upload.
just
Hold
put-
on. Let's see. Where did this go? Oh my goodness! What is this image you sent me? Whoa. Yeah, that's it. That's the character.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
it.
So out of someone who stays as far away from contact collection as possible, I have to say, good taste, Kooky.
Yes,
Really
these are fine answers.
So I just wanted to say, as a
I'm
person,
an old man. I'm a gentleman.
yeah,
I can
as
say
the
that.
person who just learned of Iowa, I think it was yesterday, right? I told you about this.
Oh yeah.
I had a friend ask me, "Hey, what do I think of Iowa?" I said, "It's a state. I don't know. It's cool." No. The follow up to it was, "No, would you fuck Iowa?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. What?" And then showed me an anime picture. I'm like, "Oh dear."
Jesus.
So
I'm
no.
a little bit confused. Are they like actual ships? Is it a personification of
yeah.
a ship?
Yes, that is exactly it.
They're like an anthropomorphic
This is
personification.
So they're not a ship, or they are a ship.
Yes.
They have ship parts, so like they can have like cannons on their arms representing the
Do
kind
they
of
like
artillery.
use the cannons?
Yes.
Did they load the artillery in them?
Yes.
What the fuck? Like, what do they eat? Like, do they go to McDonald's? And get
The way you have to look at it is like imagine you were the ship the SS Kugi battleship,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
you just happen to have some 50 cals mounted on your back that you can take off every now and then, but otherwise you're just eating rice and fucking having burgers every now and then.
Coogie,
Essentially
I'm
a
not sure if
robot.
you know. Did you ever watch the Centurions?
Oh my god.
This
No.
sounds like the Centurions.
Power extreme.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, cool. Next question.
This
Gustavo
one.
Rojas. What's
Do
up?
you want
know
to
what?
ask this one?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a question. It's a question. Yeah, sure.
The question. So he asks, would you support Latin American tournaments? Would you be open to license your shirts? They are pretty expensive for us in Peru.
So licensing is a really tricky legal issue, and that is far beyond me because that involves lawyers, that involves contracts. International copyright law is basically one of those things that I'm sure lawyers read when they want to fall asleep at night. and it's far beyond my capacity. So unfortunately, I'm just going to say no at this point because it's outside of my control. If Teespring can, ship to Latin American countries, that's cool. But I'm not really in the position to sponsor tournaments anymore because that's beyond what my goals are. I'm trying to redo my business from the ground up. So the part of it is not sponsoring tournaments anymore, but rather to become more of a personality and teach people how to get better at things and, utilize the natural skill set that I have. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm sorry it's not the best answer.
Okay, that's it. Those are all the questions for Kugi.
We have that one that's left over from Time Rift.
Yeah, we have this question from Time Rift. This is just a general question to all of us. Time Rift asks, final round will be my first ever FGC event. Should I have skipped it to see whether they fixed last year's issues?
I mean, you're only going to find out by going or waiting or not going and being like, oh, I should have went.
Well, let me answer the question from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Be the exact same tournament as last year. So there's less people going this year. So it's probably going to be fine.
True.
Yeah, when you say less people going, looking at
already
SGG numbers, it's like significantly less. It's more than half or less than half.
It's straight up. It's actually 2/3 less. So they're at 360 people registered for Street Fighter V. On-site reg is probably going to be 150 at most. You're looking at 600 people max. Personally, I'm done with final round. I'm never going back. I have no interest in it. So I don't think it's a bad tournament. It's just that there's better alternatives now. So.
I would say I wouldn't have skipped it. I think everybody's got to have their first major at some point or another. And as much as a lot of people would like you to believe that tournaments are going to be flawless, you're going to end up running into some of the goofy shit and delays anyway. Even with the problems the final round has had, I always had fun. So it should still be fun for the average player.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely be fun.
Or you can come to NCR.
Okay, so I think that about does it. Should be good.
Are we good?
Anyone have any questions? You guys have anything else you want to ask?
I definitely have an announcement to make, though.
Okay. You just want to overshadow Coogie with your announcement?
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to hear the announcement.
No, I mean I know what it is. Go for it.
It's not a very good announcement. So with my ever-changing adult life, I'm going to announce that I will be going on hiatus from SDR from this point forward to the unforeseeable future. My work schedule is changing, so I won't be able to make it on Mondays anymore. I'll be working Sunday through Wednesday from 2 p.m. to 12:30.
Damn.
But I just want to say that this has pretty much been one of the best things that I've probably... It's been a consistent part of my life that has given me like a place that I knew I could be, and has presented me with a lot of opportunities I might not have otherwise have gotten. So, thanks everybody who's watched.
Thanks,
It's gonna be this hard.
Of course it is, man. Damn it.
Man, I love you.
We're gonna
Walkman.
miss you, man.
You're the best. I got to be on the show with you. Man, I'm so happy that this is
No,
like
seriously,
last
big
time
shout
I
outs
get
to
hang.
Coogie, because when all my shit got stolen at Evo, he like no questions asked helped me out like
Oh
immediately.
yeah, man. I remember I hooked you up with some fat loot.
Yeah. So really appreciate everything that this community has done for me.
Oh man, you're
This
a
isn't-
sweetheart.
This really isn't like a goodbye per se. I'll still be around doing Game Goon stuff, but just I could probably come back if SDR is still some sort of entity that exists in the future. But for now, I don't know when I'll be able to make it back. But thank you everybody for watching.
Thanks, Walkman. We love you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
And you know,
Man, I'll be honest. When you were tearing up, I was tearing up a little bit. I was like, "Oh God, hold it together." Oh no.
I was thinking
no.
about this all day, and I didn't think it would have been that difficult. But the second it happens, you know.
Yeah.
God damn it, Tony! I had to go take a lap.
yeah. But Anthony, like you're always welcome on the show back. Like you're not gone.
Yeah,
You're
it's
still part of the
essentially
show.
just a hiatus. I'll be
Yeah.
around. I'll still try and do some streaming, do some game doing stuff. I'm still going to NCR. It's not like I'm gone forever, but this was like the one venue I had that kept me connected to like the things I like, even though I couldn't watch tournaments, even though, I couldn't go out to events because of all my work schedule. This really kept me tapped into the scene that I really grew to love. So that's what I've been thankful for this entire time.
I have faith that you will find an alternative outlet for your interests.
Yeah, this is pretty new to me too, because I found out about my schedule changing last Friday, and it's pretty much
Damn.
changing next Sunday.
So wait, does that mean you're moving to New Hampshire with Kelly?
No, not quite. I'll still be where I'm at right now. So
Okay.
we'll figure
Okay, just
it out
checking.
as it goes on.
All right.
I'm glad that you gave us our name back when we were a bunch of fucking idiots that had like no idea what we were doing with this.
Back when we were on eLive?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So the show went through like 3 different names, and then we didn't settle on a name until Walkman picked the name for us.
Yep.
And it was great because at the time we were a KOF centric show.
Cofcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we needed something that was more broad, generalized. So Super Desperation Radio. Well, it's still a King of Fighters name. Just SDR, Super Desperation. Yeah, it's fine.
We were also all
We're
really
super
broke.
desperate for ratings.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think like 3 out of 5 of us didn't have jobs at the time.
I definitely
Super
didn't.
Desperation Radio. It
Yep.
makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So
We were desperate for anything at that point.
yeah, you're telling me.
So again, Anthony, you're still part of the show. Just
Yeah.
brief,
Always.
brief
In spirit,
hiatus.
I'll be around.
Look,
You'll
man,
be back.
we
You'll be
love you
back.
here, and we're gonna be 3 times as stupid to feel.
This means
Until
Alec
you come
actually
back.
has to use his webcam now.
Fuck!
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying we're going to be 3 times as stupid, I mean, that's a check I personally cannot catch. So someone's going to have to make up my.
Well, I mean, I'm glad I had it off right now so people didn't see me cry because this meme city there, crying into my hot
definitely.
cocoa.
Whatever, I'll have to suck this one up into the future, so.
That's fine, man.
So yeah, everyone, be sure. Like, he's not gone. He's not going anywhere.
I'll be around.
Follow him on Twitter. The thing he says he doesn't use, but he puts up the dumbest shit on the planet.
I might not read,
Always.
but if people at me, or I'll post stupid stuff every now and again. But it's not like it has absorbed my life. I've never been the biggest fan of social media.
Dude, look, without you, I wouldn't have the Apex Redditor, which actually gets me through some days at times.
That was a good one. All right. Will, I think that about
Yeah.
But
this show.
before we go, Kugi, you launched a new shirt today.
Well, it's not really a new shirt. It's I re-released 2 really popular shirts from the past. I relaunched the Tiger shirt, which I think everyone in the community is well aware of that shirt. It's pretty infamous. And then I relaunched the Primitive Fury shirt, which is basically my complete copyright infringement metal tee, where it's 2 Primal Rage characters ripping each other apart. And I had a legit metal artist draw it, a guy that works Metallica and shit. I actually commissioned him.
We got Rasmussen?
draw it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh, so I had this guy. I contacted him a couple years back, and I was like, "Hey, I want to do this shirt." He actually knew about Primal Rage, and he was super stoked. And he actually made a video of him drawing it on his YouTube channel. So it's that's a 5-year-old design. That's how long ago it was. And I just released that one today. So I'm working on some new stuff too. The store's always getting new updates, which is the great thing about Teespring. So I'm really happy that I can just make stuff, put it out there, people can buy it. It's super good.
I want to point out your Tiger re-release is a black and red shirt.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite color scheme. Go
Yeah,
get it.
no, it
Teespring
is.
says there's 8 days left. Get it. Is that
Yeah.
accurate?
Well, with Teespring, all my stuff sticks around forever unless I
Really?
say otherwise. So if you want to get it, you can get it anytime. But I recommend that you buy it right this moment, right now. All of your money, take all of your money that you have in your bank account from your day job or whatever, and convert that into stacks of T-shirts, and then pay me. Do that right now. Go to my website, www.brokentear.com. Check it out. It's cool. And then click the store link in the upper right corner and click that, and then give me all your money.
All right.
And be sure to follow his Twitch account, which he's been talking about, twitch.tv/BrokenTier. He's going to teach you how to be an actually good Guilty Gear player.
Actually,
Legit.
along with that, I have one question for you, Kugi.
Sure.
So, in the one very few times I could watch you, I was right before I went to work. I saw that you were making a design for like an online Guild Revelator thing.
Right. Yeah. So there's a couple. I've been doing this for a couple things now. So I've done the logo for the danger. I forgot what it's called now. It's called something else. Hold on. This is really bad promo. Let me look it up. Hold up.
You're talking about
Salty Circuit.
Faulty
So
Circuit,
I did the
right?
Salty Circuit. The Salty Circuit's a 3v3 online series that's ran by Faulty Defense and the Texas guys. So I worked on that. And the other one I worked on just recently was the Super Steam Xrd Exhibition League. And that happens every Friday and Saturday. And basically what that is because Steam Revelator, like PC Revelator, has like 1 frame of input lag.
Mhm.
PS4 version has 4.5 frames of input lag. So PC version online legit feels like offline PS4.
Wow.
So
It's
because
really
of
good.
that, it's that good. I can play East Coast people pretty legit. Because of that, we've started doing exhibitions with MD Silva. MD Silva is like one of the main Guilty Gear uploaders that archives all the Mikado footage that comes out every day. Chunks it up into like different player segments, different character segments, so that if you're a beginner or you're a good player, you can find your favorite player right away. So MD Silva put it together. I just did a logo for it, but check it out. It's every Friday and Saturday.
Awesome.
It's
And-
super cool.
And so she's working on that with you and with Sim from Chicago.
Right.
Not only are they looking for players, they're also looking for commentators. They
Yeah.
want this to be an opportunity where anybody who has been wanting to do commentary for Gear can get a shot at doing it, at least to get some practice, at least to get something for real if you're trying to make this into almost like a profession. So
Yeah.
they're just
Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of taking people, whoever.
you gotta get your licks in and try. You know, like I'm super hyped that we have this because I think that in general, the Guilty Gear scene, especially right now, we're trying new things. We're trying to expand our reach. The Capcom gamers are not supporting the Guilty Gear community in the same way that we want, so we're trying to do it grassroots style, and I think it's working. It's really like taking off, and I think it's going to continue to grow. So if you're interested in Guilty Gear, if you've thought about playing it, if you have no idea, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific. Stop by if you liked me talking. If you like hearing my voice, it's smooth and sexy and calms you down or whatever. Like, just come on by and talk to me. Like, I'm happy to help you out with whatever, like life problems, but mostly Guilty Gear. I don't want to hear about how you can pay rent because I want your money too. So you know what I mean? Like, just stop by and have fun. I'm always streaming. So
Sounds great.
All right. Well, once again, like to thank Paul for coming on and talking to us about everything, just about from business
Almost.
to, your stream and to just playing the game over the years. So thanks a lot for coming on this week. And once again, like to give a big thanks to Lord Walkman. Hope you do well. I'll see you around, man. You ain't gone forever.
I'll be around.
So, all right. If we have nothing else, I'd just like to thank everybody else for listening to another episode of Super Desperation Radio. We're a few minutes over, but it was worth it. So, from everybody here, good night and good luck.